never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hello, beautiful people. How are you this very fine sort of a Friday? Thank God it is Friday, and well, what a day it has been. I hope you enjoyed the chat last night. Got a lot of feedback from people wanting to go and help Doris on Saturday morning. So please, if you can, if you happen to be in Melbourne, Taylor's Hill is the area to go to. 15 Jacaranda Drive at midday on Saturday if you would like to go and help Doris out. While she and Michael are trying very hard to stop the theft of their home, and it is a theft. Some serious discrepancies the bank is playing with, and they are not the only ones. I was able to put Doris and some other people in contact, and recently, if you're a Cairns News follower, you would have seen that there was a news story about the bailiffs going after the banks because they have been doing illegality. And one of the people involved in all of that has been trying very hard to get a class action together, particularly against Westpac. Westpac Bank is the bank that seems to be working this illegal, or what looks to be an illegal or unlawful solution for housing theft. And they've been doing it quite a while. So if this has happened with you, if you've got issues with your mortgage and the Westpac Bank, reach out to me, because I will put you in contact with the group who are very keen to get a class action going against Westpac. And I couldn't support them anymore. I think it's a marvelous idea, truly marvelous idea. Dave was first in. How are you, mate? Good to see you. The lovely Donna, second in, and Judith John. That sounds nice. One of our lovely mods, Michelle, was in, and Bazza got himself in. The lovely Debs is in. What that is here? Yeah, good God, gold is exactly right. We'll get onto that shortly. G'day, Andrew. Hope you're doing all right, mate. The gorgeous Sunflower. I hope she's doing well. My very good mate in Taswegia land, the Black Sheep, is back with us tonight. I hope you're doing all right, buddy. And things in your part of the world are doing all right. I know you're gearing up for your trip, so looking forward to seeing you, buddy. Maria, nice to see you. And hello, Donna. And the lovely Mr. Grace is in the house from Pinaroo. 2.5 mils and a good thunderstorm last night. Pete sent me some pictures of his crop. He's got some barley in at the moment, and he was hoping that there would be a little bit of rain coming their way. I don't think they want huge amounts, but it does need a bit. So fingers crossed, Pete, and I hope the garlic's going well. Yum. Salty, nice to have you in. And Spaz, good to see you too, brother. Got a quote from a reputable company. They don't take cash. Well, you can't. They don't trust their drivers. Rang the company that does. $200 cheaper for cash. Thank you very much. You've done the right job. Always offer cash, folks. Always offer it, because there is plenty of great opportunity. I think I said hello to Andrew, did I? G'day, Andrew. The lovely Rachel and JFK are in the house. That's beautiful. Toxic, g'day to you. The Rockin' Housewife is back in the house. Good to hear. Jason, hope you're doing all right, mate. The lovely Sandy, who has been trekking around the countryside saving donkeys. And she and Baz are finally back home. So with another couple of charges to look after, and coming up on Monday, it's Farrier Day, and that means lots of costs. So if you would like to help out with the costs of looking after over 100 donkeys, you can do so, please, by buying a lottery ticket, VOFHQ lottery ticket, easy to get at merch.vofhq.com. And click on the Sanctuary $750 charity link. And for $2, you can buy a ticket. I think we've got about 200 left in this draw. And you can buy a ticket for $2 and maybe win yourself 750 or 1 ounce of our Byron Bobs, which are absolutely spectacular and are roaring out the door. We're not making any money off them because the silver price just keeps going through the friggin' roof. But we're not losing money yet. Well, we might be. Depends how much the holders are actually costing us. And to find out how much the holders are actually costing us, it's that time of the evening where we like to welcome in the Waving Wonder. How are you, my good friend?
Yeah, caught me having a smoke.
Well, there you go. The way you were moving your hand around there, I'm glad you described what you had because it looked a bit weird just between you, me, and the gatepost. Hey,
Right.
221
221 tickets.
I beg your pardon?
221 tickets.
Okay, 221 tickets at $2 each. Please, folks, help us out, and we'll be able to send some money through to help pay for, a little bit towards the Farrier Day, because, to be honest, we'd have to do 55 friggin' 55 friggin' posts to try and help out to get enough. But Farrier Day, we need to help as much as we can. What am I saying? 55 different posts. We'd need to run 55 different lotteries and have them all come off inside a month for us to be able to help pay for Farrier Day. So I do appreciate, though, any help you can give us, folks. That will help the Donkey Sanctuary. It'll help Voice of Freedom keep going forward. And, well, we do need to fix a couple of things on the bus, as we discovered today, because we moved her. So took her for a drive. We got a couple of little things to fix. So nothing huge, which is good.
Yeah, right. Couple $100 RAM, some leaking water, nothing huge at all. No. Let me be a good little boy and put my cigarette out.
I have two leaking RAMs.
So $400. Good.
No. One of the RAMs is either bent or it's blown a seal in a very strange place. So it could be one or the other. I wasn't able to get one of them up. That was the problem. It wouldn't retract. So, and they retract on a spring. So that makes it pretty weird that it wouldn't retract. And I haven't moved the bus with them down because obviously when they're down, the wheels don't touch the ground. So you don't go very far if you put it in gear. But that RAM might be bent, in which case it'll be a couple of $100 for a new RAM. If it's not, then it'll only be seals, and hopefully can probably get away with replacing all the seals for a couple of $100 all around if we had to. But it's not a huge job, and particularly my dear friend Keith, who I have pulled up in his yard. He is also the mechanic, and he's also the guy who had his ute stolen the other night with all his tools on it. Now, a bit of an update. The ute has been found. No tools, obviously, have been found. The trailer that was also taken has been found, but none of the tools that were in the trailer have been found. So whether or not the vehicle is still in a working condition, we don't actually know yet. He hasn't got it back. But they did find it, and they found it in the Park Ridge, Woodridge area of Brisbane. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of tools going through a cash converters near you soon, I suspect. A lot of tools. Poor Keith, he's lost $160,000+ worth of equipment. And while the ute was insured, all of that equipment isn't, because it's almost impossible to insure that much gear hanging around on the back of a truck. So at any rate, he does have some tools left, thankfully, and I have some tools, and together we shall be tool men and go to work on the old girl over the next week or so. Make sure we try and find where the water is coming from, because, yeah, she is leaking a bit of water. And I believe that to be coming out of a heater hose, or possibly out of some sort of radiator hose. But finding the radiator hose split and where the radiator hoses go is a real issue in this old girl for somebody like me who doesn't know their way around them. So Keith, on the other hand, is very smart like that. So I take my hat off to him, and I can't thank him enough for letting me share his yard for a week while we try and fix this up. So looking forward to getting back on the road. God, I mean, I only drove, I don't know, 70-odd kilometres today, but, gee, it was good to get back in her and drive, Vince. I just loved it. Just loved it. So,
Well,
gave me that
back
feeling of being back on the road again. Yeah. And I really want to get back on the road. I've spent far too much time in that shithole that I've been able to extract myself from finally. So I'm happy to be back out and of the people, so to speak.
Good. That's excellent stuff. So, did you hear that everybody's having a shot about smoking in the chat, which is really interesting because there's heaps and heaps of taxes going on that with smoking. Right, as we all know, the packets go up like crazy, but apparently not so for beer.
Right.
The Prime Minister has said that they are not going to be raising taxes for beer for the next 2 years. Isn't that fantastic?
Well, that's a vote winner. You're old enough to remember every Christmas the beer strike.
Yeah. Yeah, actually I am. I do remember
Every
that.
Christmas. If you're of a certain age and, you were around in the 70s and early 80s, every Christmas there was a beer strike. All right? Come December 1, all the pubs were screaming because the breweries had shut down. The guys who brewed the beer wanted more money, or they wanted a Christmas bonus, or they wanted a Christmas party. It didn't matter what the hell they wanted. It was December 1st every year they would shut down beer. And, of course, you would have a dry Christmas, which in Australia is absolutely unheard of. And Parliament House would have been burnt down if, concessions weren't made and those folks got what they wanted. Now, I don't know. Beer strike, I don't think that's not an issue anymore, but taxes really are. So Albo's now saying you can go to the pub to drink and the beer tap price is not going to go up. Is that right?
Correct. Just the tap price just the beer that's poured out of the tap. Nothing about any of the other stuff, right? No freeze on cans or bottles or any of that stuff. Just the tap price out of the beer. Isn't that amazing? I mean, these guys are just fantastic at showing you, we're doing you the greatest thing in the world. So sleight of hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was listening to a piece today about the Victorian 50% friggin' gain tax on their property when they redo the tax, like if you live on country property, right?
Yes, I've
and
heard
then
that
they
too.
rezone it and your price goes through the roof, and then you get to pay $500,000 or more in tax when you sell it at a 5% interest rate 30 years down the track, or you can pay it upright front. And of course, don't forget that that's the state tax. Then there's a federal tax on top of that for capital gains as well. So out of your $3 million you may be selling your property for, they're going to take somewhere between 50 and 75% of that in taxes. And we call ourselves free.
Yeah. Got to say, if you were living in Victoria, Stan, and they're bringing that in, you'd want to sell your house and get out of the state before that became law, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, most definitely, right? It's only going to affect those that are not in the city, but those that are in just country rurals. You might have a 5-acre block, right? If it's anything over 2 acres, apparently, you might have a 5-acre block. If it gets redistributed to rural living or into actual city type block size, you're going to get stung badly. So much for your investment.
Yeah.
Right? There's no
absolutely.
money in the property in that one.
Wow, that's going to make life. So, I'm no expert on property. no expert on anything. But the idea of having a property is to have enough in that property to upgrade it. If you were to sell that property, you would get enough out of that property to give you a very good deposit or a lot of equity in the next house you buy, presumably a little bit bigger or a little bit nicer or whatever you want to get into. That's going to take all the steam out of the ability to sell your house and upgrade. Because if they're going to take 40, 50% of that profit, you're not going to have that money to invest in your next property.
Yeah, you've got to realise, though, that is residential. This is a situation where your residential properties aren't affected by this. It's only those that are sitting on the edge of residential areas that get their property changed from a rural tag to a residential tag. And all of a sudden their property that was worth, say, let's take a property that's worth $1 million and it's got 5 acres on it. And all of a sudden those 5 acres become 1 acre blocks and they're worth $1 million a piece. You've now got $5 million worth of property that just got changed by a stroke of a bureaucratic pen, and you need to pay 50% tax on that $5 million.
Right.
Right. And you have the choice. You can either pay it when you sell, but if you do so, you have to be paying a 5% interest on top of that property for the next 30 years or whatever. Right. Or you can sell it now and pay the tax. And because it's now worth supposedly $5 million, they're going to take $2.5 million. The government will take $2.5 million. Then the federal government's going to step in, and I should say the state government will take $2.5 million. Then the federal government's going to step in and take its percentage as well of a capital gains tax. So, that's another maybe 25, another 1.25 million. So what do you get left with? And who's been paying all the interest?
Yeah, exactly.
And all that sort of stuff. It's like, come on.
I just want to say hello to Jason Trading High near Mortlake. Is that where you're from, Jason? Down that way? I grew up in Mortlake. So if you're down near Mortlake, hello, Western Victoria. Beautiful part of the world. Last time I was down that way, I went through Mortlake, actually. Walked around the town, which is more than I can say I've done since I was about 10 years old. I've been riding a bike around it. But, walked around, did the whole tour through the footy ground and everything else. Drove the bus through there, actually. It was a bit of fun. But yeah, nice to have you, Jace. Mortlake just popped into the chat and I thought I have to bring up Mortlake. So that property thing is a real issue. I don't know how people can think that there is a future in that part of the world. Like, how can you get out of your property and grow?
Yeah, well, for all the investment and stuff that you've put into it way back, you thought you had a nice little rural property, and all of a sudden the suburbs have sprawled, and then you get taxed to high heaven. That's how that basically works. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's one set of taxes, but tax the Australian people, unlike the current news that happens to be happening with Ukraine.
Yeah, righto. Now this is a weird one.
Okay. Yep. So it's just come out that, our wonderful Prime Minister decided he was going to fly off and head. I'm the news guy tonight, guys, because Carl was too busy driving a bus. Our Prime Minister flew overseas and disappeared from nowhere. Well, now we know where he went. Excuse me. He went to Ukraine and made a deal. Right. And the deal is that between Australia and Ukraine, each of these countries will be able to work and create businesses in each other's countries with significantly reduced tax benefits.
Right.
Man, what the? I mean,
wow.
Tax the Australian people to crap, but let a Ukraine company come over here and build a business, foreign-owned business, and pay no bloody tax or very minimal tax. We've already got enough big companies doing that now that don't pay any tax. And he's just gone and signed another swab of it away.
I know. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
So yeah, so that's and this is our Prime Minister. What's going on here? I mean, we've got defectors happening all over the state, all our pollies. I mean, we've got people who are really starting to complain, and we've got Barnaby Joyce looking to join One Nation. You know, I think One Nation's starting to become a viable opposition, to be honest. Right?
Well,
They could get Jacinta Price and a couple of other libs in there. I think they'd do exceptionally well. But anyway,
how do you think Jacinta Price, Andrew Hastie, who is the next anointed Liberal Party leader, and they've been grooming him for 4 years or more for this, pretty much since he got into the parliament, he's been groomed for this. How do you think that would play out with the community? If Jacinta Price and what's his face move over to One Nation, they would be in a subordinate position to not just Pauline, but to Malcolm and probably to the current sitting electees from One Nation. That would put them in a power vacuum, if you like, inside that party. Pauline is not known for her trust of new blood that comes in. She's been welcoming at times, but, Mark Latham, who was, the head of One Nation New South Wales, until he opened his mouth far too often, far too much and far too hard. And I think he eventually told Pauline, pull your head in. You're the federal leader. I'm looking after the state side. And that might have been where there was a parting of the ways. Pauline is very dominant. She wants to be the leader of whatever it is. And if these people decide to come to One Nation, then Pauline, at 71 years of age, will be the leader. And they would have to submit to that.
True. That is true.
Know.
And I think they're very strong people. So I don't know how they would go with that. And I think that anybody who's a strong leader that goes into One Nation tends to run into a little bit of issues, and perhaps that's why they've lost a couple of senators along the way, which is a real shame, because we need, the Australian people need somebody to act as that bloody nail in the coffin in that bloody stupid thing they call a parliament that sits on top of the hill, right? Which is really just a corporate government. But anyway, we won't go into that. But we sort of diverged off track there. The other part I was going to talk about, though, was to do with Ukraine, seeing we were on the subject of Ukraine. Apparently, Mr. Zelensky is heading over to see Mr. Trump just shortly, right after our weak-livered Prime Minister was busily signing away our frigging goods again. And he's chasing some high-powered long-distance rockets. Well, the rumor says that Trump had a phone call with Putin last night, and he's reversed his thoughts about that. So this could be interesting. All right.
Well, if he
don't know exactly where that's going to go.
Zelensky will find it very hard, I think, to get too much by way of long-range weapons out of the US at any time. Trump is playing, chess here, and he has all the weapons that are required. So he's in the power position. He doesn't have to give them, but though he can, and he can use that. Yes, I can give these to Zelensky as a sort of bargaining chip with Russia, but I don't think Putin's going to play that game. Putin isn't a silly man, and he's not going to be swayed by those sorts of arguments. He's quite happy to say, well, if you think yours is that big, wait, I'll get mine out. I'll show you how big it is. And that's essentially how it'll play out. Trump doesn't want that. Neither does Putin want that. Trump realizes that Zelensky is just a puppet or an actor, a comedian at best, and treats him as such. And if you are ever in any doubt that this is all just a movie, then surely this must be showing it to you, just the ridiculousness that the fact that this Zelensky person is even being treated to an audience with Trump or being entertained by him. Trump's just trying to save Ukrainians, because at the end of the day, if Russia decides it will crush Ukraine, it will. And there'll be nothing.
I'm surprised it hasn't already, to be honest.
I think they've been restrained. Very restrained, considering that aerial attack that was launched supposedly by Ukraine, but completely planned by NATO, with the drones that flew over the bombers and all that sort of stuff. So the restraint that Russia showed after losing half their intercontinental bomber fleet is pretty nasty. Or did they? Was that just an AI-generated piece of crap that could have come out of a video game somewhere? And, you know, it was all just done to promote the whole idea that Ukraine were getting one back at the big Russian bear. I don't think it played out like that at all.
I'm really, actually, when you say Russian bear, I'm really surprised it didn't go.
Yeah,
right.
Just swap them.
Yep, that's about what I would have thought. But anyway, so that's an interesting few bits and pieces that are going on there. I just saw a section there about, I'll just put that back up again. Vince should bring up the digital ID in the UK. Discord hacked by a third-party company, and digital ID data centers will be heaven for hackers now. That is an understatement.
Okay.
Right. Digital ID is, well, besides the fact that we know what it's aimed at, right, where they're going to be able to nail you down, tie in your bank accounts, all that sort of stuff. But no matter what, I mean, MyGov got hacked majorly, and that's supposed to have fairly reasonable security. And we're going to trust our information to the government, honestly. Right? There's about 455 reasons why I can think not to do digital ID. Right, and if I can start, right, reason, no, I'm only kidding. But it's those sort of things that are a bit of a challenge. Now, there's plenty of hacks. There's another company got hacked. Councils get hacked. Anybody can get hacked. Even me. Really, I've probably been hacked more times than I know. Pretty sure the AFP are in my service somewhere, because I used to know Bosie, so that put me straight on their list. But anyway, those sort of things occurs. You know, when you're talking about the CIA and companies like that, you know, they have a huge amount of resources.
Yeah.
But even now, things are coming out. And one of those is the indictment of John Bolton.
Yeah, another one that bites the dust. Yeah, that's a big one. Bolton obviously was supposedly a Trump supporter in the first iteration of Trump's presidency. He turned out to be nothing like a friend of Trump, as he had purported to be, and had, you know, basically shown himself to be, I think, in the lead up to that election. He was certainly known to Trump, and he was one of the appointees that was put in by a large group that, you know, made those selections for Trump. Of course, Bolton turned on him, and turned on him quite hard. He was clearly a member of the deep state, and with his very deep ties into the CIA, Bolton had some sort of credibility, I suppose, until he was put up against the likes of John Brennan, who also former head of the CIA and has been exposed, along with Comey and the rest of the team, involved in the illegalities leading up to and surrounding the election in 2016. So Bolton came out after that. He was responsible in great part for having General Michael Flynn and a couple of other Trump very big Trump supporters, Stone, I've forgotten his name, his first name, but Stone was one of them. And you probably saw that raid live, because CNN were tipped off it was going to happen. They had Bearcats there and SWAT teams, and they bashed on this elderly gentleman's door at like 4:30 in the morning and raided the joint like it was a drug den. I think that's what Trump's doing now. And Comey has been indicted. Now Bolton's been indicted. I think there are 2 others who've been indicted in the last couple of weeks as well, including Letitia James, who was the New York DPP, head of the public prosecutions there. She's the one who went after Trump with all of those bodged cases during and after his first term as president. She is the one that kept him engaged in lawfare for the 4 years of the Biden presidency. And that all came to nothing. Trump won those cases, or the cases were thrown out. And of course, she was responsible in some part for working with one of the engineers of the fraud against Trump. And that is, I would expect Mr. Smith to get an indictment very shortly as well. I'm hearing.
You mean Jack Smith, the not real boy?
Yeah.
Jack Smith's not a real boy.
He's not a real boy.
Wondering about where that comment comes from, as a legal expert, legal Watch the Watchers show that I listen to quite regularly, and he uses that comment all the time because Jack Smith was appointed as the what was the proper name for it?
Special counsel.
Special counsel.
Yeah.
But to be appointed by the special counsel, it had to be voted in by the Senate, the Congress and the Senate, and he never was. So he was never a real boy.
He was never a real boy.
So that's how that comes about, just in case you're wondering.
And for all those people who believed the crap about Trump through that time, the stuff that was put out by Jack Smith and the lies that were put through, now you're starting to see the truth of it. It's got nothing to do with a political hatchet job going to get people who tried to get him. The people who tried to get him did so in a very illegal manner, something that runs against every aspect of the US Constitution and its Bill of Rights. Now, if the Americans let that just pass by and say, oh, well, that happened, well, nothing's going to change. All right? Elections will be rigged going forward, and the people have already agreed tacitly not to do anything about it because they just, well, who cares? So can't do that. Was Carl smooth or rough for me? Pretty smooth, I think.
Yeah, that's not what he said when he rang me at 3:00 this afternoon. Or 1:00 or whatever time it was.
The bus started. It got me to where I need to be. So it's a good day. That's all I can say.
Yeah, except for the panic section. But, of course, Vince to the rescue.
Well, anyway, there was an element where
I'm just having a little stir here of Carl while I can on air, and everybody else is going to be going, what the bloody hell?
What are you talking about? So stop doing in jokes, right?
And that's where I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, good. Anthony Albanese's father. Now, Anthony Albanese would have you believe that the person on the left there is his father. The person on the left is a waiter on a ship, I believe. And Albo's mother is in this picture. She's down on the bottom left-hand corner, but we're more interested in the bloke who's sitting in the bottom right-hand corner of this picture. Why are we interested in that? Well,
he looks like Albo.
He looks like Albo, doesn't he? He looks a lot like Albo. And that is George, Albo's uncle. Now, George, whose name isn't Albanese, it's, I don't know, forgotten what it is now. George took his niece on a holiday to Europe, and his niece got pregnant, apparently to that bloke on the ship. But Albo doesn't look anything like that bloke on the ship. But that was the fella's name on the ship, Albanese. He was an Italian. So Albo has come back and taken this fella's name, Albanese, rather than let it be known that mum slept with first cousin and had a relationship with the first cousin. Well, maybe.
Supposedly. We'll just cover our
Allegedly.
legal bases here. Allegedly, yes.
And, yeah, well, George looks a lot like Albo. Or Albo
Does
looks a
indeed.
lot like George.
So has this
Just
got
saying.
anything to do with a cruise? I mean, is this why you want to go on a cruise?
What?
So you can meet some young, gorgeous lady?
How the fuck did you segue to a cruise out of that and me meeting a
Well,
lady?
because it happened on a ship.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Man,
Sorry.
can't you link the points together?
No. Well, that goes to show I'm either not
What's
interested in ships or ladies or that kind of thing. I don't know what that goes to say about me. But as you're mentioning the cruise, we can help with that.
That's how I segued to it.
I've just, lost me completely. I'm thinking, what?
Look, it shows that an amateur can take out a professional at any time with just pure random logic.
Or bullshit, as its other name.
That too.
Name is.
Yeah, that too.
So our cruise is going on May 4th, May 4 to 8, out of Brisbane, Airlie Beach, Brisbane. We'll get a day in Airlie Beach. You can either choose to stay in Airlie Beach and sit with me, because I would love to meet people from Airlie Beach, from Proserpine, and anywhere else who might want to travel down and meet us there for the day. But you will be able to hop on the tourist boats at Airlie Beach and shoot off to Hamilton Island or to Whitehaven Beach, or to that little love grotto thing with a coral key in the shape of a love heart, for those of you who have a significant other you'd like a photo of the love heart with. But for those that don't, I'm planning on just hanging out in Airlie and catching up with a few people who might come down and have a lunch with us there that day. We'll be in at 7 o'clock in the morning, I think, and we leave at 5:30 in the afternoon. So it's a whole day running around, either heading out to the coast, heading out to the reef. You can go swimming and diving on the Great Barrier Reef if you so desire. It's right there. Or if walking along a pure white beach is something you would like to experience, Whitehaven Beach is certainly very spectacular. I've seen it from the air, but I'm not much of a beach fan. So white beach, gold beach, I don't give a shit what colour the sand is. Just as long as there isn't anything with teeth coming out of the water wanting to eat me, I'm happy. So, but if Whitehaven's your thing, then by all means get into it. And now we have a personal cruise manager. Her name is Annette, and the number there, 1300 385 625, and that extension number is very important, 49632. You will get to her, and she has all the details of this cruise, and if you ring her, she'll make sure that we're all together, sort of thing. Depending on whether there's one of you or two of you, the rooms are, pretty good, I would have thought, for 4 days. Interior rooms start at about $1,300. You can get suites for less than $2,000, like really big suites. And if you want a room with a balcony, I think that's about $1,700 or thereabouts. Deposit is only $150, with the balance having to be paid off just before Valentine's Day in February of next year, and departure on May the 4th. So I expect everybody to be dressed who is going on the cruise on May the 4th. I expect everyone to be dressed in their very best Star Wars gear. I may not have a haircut, although I'm going to try and convince Clayton to come, who looks much more like a Wookiee than I do.
I thought you might have donned the helmet and gone.
I am your father, Luke.
You got the voice for it. So, yeah.
James Earl Jones. He's the voice of Darth Vader, and a magnificent voice. In fact, he was the voice of Discovery for years, and he was in great part a great inspiration to me. I wanted to be the voice of Discovery very much, but James Earl Jones seemed to have a bit of a rap on it, and living in Australia, it was pretty hard to get my foot in over there. But Yeah, absolutely magnificent voice. And there's probably three inspirations for me in the world of voiceovers. And the first one is Sir Richard Burton. I first learned about voiceovers and learned about the emotion that you can get out of a voiceover by listening to War of the Worlds when it first came out. Back
that
in
was
the
brilliant.
early 80s or 1980. And he narrated it on there. So I've won competitions, actually. There was a mimic, I've forgotten his name. He was a really well-known impersonator in Australia. I forgot. He was on the radio one day, and they were asking for people to ring up and do impersonations. So I rang up and did the first 3 or 4 lines out of War of the Worlds. No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century. All that kind of shit. And yeah, Danny McMaster it was. He was floored. But I've been mimicking Richard Burton since I was friggin' 11 years old. So he was a great inspiration to me when it came to voiceovers. James Earl Jones, clearly another great inspiration. There have been a couple of others, more in the voiceover world, people you would never actually have heard of. And one of them, the best in the world, I was very lucky to make a friendship with. It was just a tad unfortunate. The friendship lasted 4 months before he died. It was short-lived, but he was trying very hard to get me into America to go and do what he did, which was movie trailer promos. So that's where I wanted to be. So what's all this fairy with you?
Ball. They are having an absolute ball with the Freedom Ferry and the ferry bit. I've just been laughing my head off as I'm going through here. Well, keep it up, guys. Loving it.
I got the Freedom Ferry joke the other night, which was a bit weird. Speaking of weird, there are some very interesting things going on in Melbourne at the moment. Yesterday, a woman was stabbed just out of nowhere. And today, more machete attacks in shopping centre car parks with vision of some bloke on his back trying to get away from this madman wielding a friggin' machete. And yes, they are Africans. They aren't Australians. They are imports that are doing this. And clearly it has to stop.
Never says that.
Hey?
All the reports now never specify the culture of the attackers.
No, they don't. They haven't done that in years. No.
Right? And it makes you, every time you hear it, you go, and who do they belong to? Where did they come from? So you've got to ask those questions, because if you don't start asking those questions and looking, then you're not going to see the full damage that's being done by the massive import that we've done. So really, Donna, you win. You've got to have it.
Yep. People are making the decision to leave Sydney. I don't know why it took you so long, but they're going to Perth. When you get over to Perth, you're going to find an awful lot of people on the west who've got a big chip on their shoulder about people on the east side of the coast. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It is a long way from the rest of Australia, Perth, a bit like Cairns or Cooktown is a long way from the rest of the country. However, Western Australia is a very important state. Western Australia brings in more money than just about any other state, I think. And, of course, you've had your fair share of fucktards running the state. One of them poked his head up again just recently to say, you've got to do this or you've got to do that or it'll all be bad. That's McGowan. I just personally waiting for him to be arrested along with the rest of them so that we can make that very happy trip to whether it's Guantanamo Bay or Guam or Christmas Island, I'm also hearing. Speaking of things that I'm hearing, there has been some changes in the US military leadership. Now, recently, we covered the whole Donald Trump addressing the 200-plus senior commissioned officers in the American Defense Forces. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines were all in place at Quantico where that address was made. Now, it wasn't just Trump. Pete Hegseth, the Minister for War, was there as well. And the reason for that meeting was so that all of these commanders could reaffirm their allegiance to the president and commander-in-chief. Now, Trump has never stopped being the commander-in-chief. He has been the commander-in-chief all the way through the Biden years. But he's been working in the background with the military. We've been saying that. We've known it for so long. However, it now appears, stories are coming out, that a number of those officers that were invited to that meeting were arrested as they left that meeting. So they've been identified as acting against the best interests of Donald Trump or the presidency or the United States of America. Part the reason for that address to call those generals in, it was every general, every admiral, every senior officer from all over the world called in for a one-day meeting at Quantico, and some of them didn't go home.
Is that speculation or fact?
No. What I'm hearing is they have been arrested, but they've been arrested under military law, so that's not going to be released publicly. So, you need to keep a bit of an eye out on the other forms of media, because God knows you're not going to get too much out of the mainstream media in America or here in Australia, for that matter.
Which brings up this comment. Which is all about the interview that was done in, I think it was 75, by one particular little sick, retarded, pervert child molester. And that tape's just recently been released and is available out there now at great risk to the gentleman who actually had the only other copy that was not inside the ABC.
Do you know who that is? That's John Adams, the financial guy, right? So the gold guy.
I think so. I did see part of an interview with him, but I haven't had a chance to go back and check it. And I'm not sure I really want to listen to the tape, to be quite honest.
I've listened to it. It's absolutely sickening. And you won't hear it again on YouTube. John's channel got taken down for it, and it's been banned off YouTube. But I did put it up on BitChute, and it is up on BitChute. A1 have put it up on BitChute. So I posted it in a show the other day. I haven't got it here in front of me now, but it is there for you to go and see on BitChute. It will not be taken down off there. You can be guaranteed. So it's out now, and it's out for good. And yes, John has been now threatened. And I dare say the ABC being the ABC, because they've got the government paying for their lawyers. That means us. They will try and sue John for releasing the information, because he did sign a document when he got this audio some years ago, like a lot of years ago, more than 10. He's had this audio. And when he got this audio, he had to sign multiple documents agreeing that it would never be put to air publicly. It would never be played anywhere publicly. It couldn't be shown and used in any other TV program or any other form of production. The ABC's legal department stitched him up. Basically, all he could do was take it home and play it in his lounge room and listen to it there. And yes, if he wanted to invite Australia around to sit in his lounge room and listen to it, then he was welcome to do that. But clearly, that wasn't what he was going to do. Now, John's been sitting on this for a long time. He's actually been working very hard behind the scenes, trying to pressure the ABC into giving him permission to release it. And they, of course, refused. He actually, I believe, tried to get some ministerial support to try and get that permission, and it was still refused. So he eventually bit the bullet and decided to put it up on the program that he does with another guy. And they have been talking about it in that program for the last few weeks. And last week they decided to put it up. I think it was up for a total of about 6 hours, if it lasted that long. I saw it at about 4 hours up. It had nearly 5,000 views then. So a lot of people got it. A lot of people screenshot it and recorded it. So it is out there. It's out there. I've got a copy of it. So if it goes down again, it'll go up again. Have no fear.
It says few copies floating around Telegram as well, I noticed. So
yeah. So once it's out, it's out. That's the thing about the internet. There are people, I don't think of it, but there are people out there who see something and go, oh, wow, great, and hit screenshot or hit video and screen grab the video instantly, not knowing whether it's going to be big or going to be wild or going to be something else, going to be taken down. But someone's always got it, folks. Someone has always recorded it as soon as it's gone up somewhere, and it's just a matter of whether or not they're brave enough to post it. That's really what it comes down to. So,
for those people, I wouldn't advise that they go screen grabbing all the latest propaganda from the government that's coming out with their new ad campaign. Talk about gaslighting. Jeez. The kids and their phones, it's all to do with the digital, December the 10th, etc. But I think it's interesting to note that in the big Senate UHA that the government put out asking for all the multimedia companies to come over and have their say. Interesting that TikTok and Twitter and Google didn't even attend. I think it was Google was the other. No, Facebook didn't even bother to attend.
Yeah. So Meta. So Meta is Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, I think, or maybe Snapchat are independent. So they didn't bother turning up. I think YouTube and Google turned up. No, they turned up the day before. YouTube and Google turned up the day before, but Meta and the rest of them never turned up the next day. And there is a very good reason for that. All that exercise was ever going to be was some trumped up little ponce of a minister or somebody in government trying to get the head honchos of these organizations to tell them what they were going to do to make sure that people under 16 weren't going to be able to get access to their platforms anymore. Well, I don't believe that Meta, I don't believe Google are going to go through with it, or Alphabet are going to allow this to happen either. And that's why they wouldn't really bother turning up. Why would you turn up to be told off by some ponce that nobody in this country has any faith in? Those that claim to have been elected by the people, we know have been appointed. They aren't elected, they are appointed. We have no trust in any of those elected members. And yet they still would have us try and believe that they can trust them. Well, we have no trust in them at all. So this is, a really good way to push forward and push back against that. And we plan on doing just that. There'll be a lot more news on that in the near future. There is sad news today, and I feel a bit conflicted about this. Ace Frehley from KISS died.
Really?
74 he was. And that means they all go in threes. So we had Diane Keaton, Ace Frehley, got to lose one more in the next day or so, next 24 hours. But Ace Frehley passed away, surrounded by his family. He had a brain bleed and collapsed in his studio a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago or more, and has been in hospital and passed away yesterday or today, quietly with friends and family around him. Very sad. KISS, if you're of a certain age, played a big role in your life.
Yep.
I went to more than one school social dressed as Ace Frehley because I was just too short to be Gene Simmons. But I had the tongue for it. But yeah, it was. It's a sad thing. I think I told you about this a couple of weeks ago. I had a little bit of a blinding moment while I was in the car, and I had music playing, which I usually don't. I haven't enjoyed music since I started doing this, and I realized just what sort of filth is into the music. I've really lost my love of music. But I was listening to some, and it was KISS. And I thought, I want to have a listen to some of these words. I've been singing them since I was 10 years of age. I was there when I Want to Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day came out the first time. So that had me hooked right from that song. So they're going to have quite a large funeral for him too, which I think will be great. For a long time, the band fell out. Ace wasn't part of the band, but in the last few years, he scored up pretty well. He got paid out very, very well by Gene Simmons and Ace and Paul Stanley, who are the owners of Kiss. Two good Jewish blokes who know how to milk you for every piece of merchandise you could ever possibly want, and a huge range you never thought you needed or wanted. They are exceptional. And Gene Simmons is vicious when it comes to money. Vicious. So typical, very, very, very typical Jewish businessman. Vicious. So anyway, I hope they spend up big for his funeral. I'd love to see the coffin go underground, flaming like the guitar.
Oh dear.
Be a nice way to start it, wouldn't it? So, folks, before we depart for the evening, have you gone off and bought any gold or silver? Ainsley Bullion is the place to go. Get online, ainsleyBullion.com.au. At the moment, $83.45. Let me just refresh that and make sure that it's the latest look. But $83.57 is the latest Ainsley spot price. If you go looking in other places, you might find the spot price is at least $2 dearer. If you were looking to buy your silver $2 cheaper, ainsleyBullion.com.au. And don't forget to put Voice of Freedom or my name in the notes section, and you will get yourself a little bit of a discount. Depending on how much you buy, it might mean that you can buy a little bit more, which would be excellent. And yep, that's the chart. What a chart that is.
Yep, that's the daily chart for silver.
That's the daily. Wow.
That's the daily chart. If I take you to the 4-hourly chart, that's what it looks like.
That's the 4-hourly chart.
Yep.
Wow. So, folks, you know how we said $100 an ounce might not be out of the question? I did say last night or the night before, I expected it to settle around 83 over the weekend. It may drop back fractionally on Monday morning, maybe back to 81. But I reckon by Friday, we're going to be pushing 87, 88, and possibly 89 or $90 before the end of the week. If that happens, it will be because there has been a lot of information come out of the banks, and that information will be we don't have the money or the silver to pay off the short that we have created for ourselves with the COMEX market.
That's the gold chart.
Yeah.
In the 4-hour, and there's the daily.
Yeah, well. So everything is going up. Gold at the moment is $6,705 Australian, US. That's 4,336. Bear in mind, up until 48 hours ago, gold had never been through 4,000 US dollars ever in its history. Ever. Silver has never been through $50. It's now $50 or $54 US an ounce. There is no cap on this, folks. It can go as high as it has to go. And there is no way of stopping it. The only way is if they can cover the shorts. The banks, the big central banks, can cover the shorts. Now, you might hear some stories that they're flying silver and gold back out of America. A few months ago, they were flying it into America. Remember, they were planning on going into Fort Knox and having a bit of a look and seeing how much gold was there. And all of a sudden, huge amounts of it was being shipped out of the UK and back into America for some reason by the Fed. And then apparently Fort Knox was found to be okay.
And that's BTC, if guys are wondering.
So what's happening is that the central bank in London is the driving force behind the COMEX short. It's not necessarily going to be the stock market that fails. It's going to be the physical supply of silver in Europe and particularly in London. The physical supply is drying up. and that's why they're trying to get it, and they're calling it arbitrage. They feel that if they get it out of America and put it in the Bank of England, they can get a better return on it, try and cut their losses on the short. That they're not going to have enough silver to be able to do that. All right. And they're not going to be able to shift that huge amount of required silver in a very short period of time. Silver is exceptionally heavy. And yes, there are plenty of aircraft that carry very heavy things around the world, but you can't just ring them up and say, oh, g'day, I'd like to book a 747 freighter to leave tonight and take 28 tons of silver or 50 tons of silver or 100 tons to England, please. Because those jets are booked days, weeks, months in advance. And they're just not parked on the apron ready to be loaded up. These guys fly from one job to the next. These things are always in the air, and they have jobs booked up ahead of them. So physically being able to shift enough silver from the United States of America to the UK is an impossibility. So when the short comes, they are not going to have that money to pay. They're not going to have the silver to pay. And therefore, what's going to happen? The price is going to go rocket-like. So be prepared for it, folks. Be prepared. Get yourself a bit of silver or gold if you can afford it now. Yep. And buy it online. You don't have to stand in a queue. AinsleyBullion.com.au. Angelina, thank you so much for the sticker. I haven't seen a super sticker in I don't know how long. So thank you. That is gratefully appreciated. And if anybody else would like to join in, that'll be gratefully appreciated too. If you prefer to do it in a different way, you could go and spend $2 and get us your chance at $750 or an ounce of silver in our lotto. And all you can do is go to merch.vofhq.com and click on the Sanctuary 750 link there. And hopefully we'll be able to clean up the last of our tickets, 221, before the end of the weekend. If we can clean that up, it would be wonderful to give one of you $750 on Monday and another of you an ounce of Byron Bobs in a hand-printed, hand-painted holder, courtesy of the Big Vincois and Voice of Freedom. I think he's about to show off his latest printing efforts by the sound of it, or maybe his latest painting efforts. Oh, there we go. Good effort. Upside down, but good effort.
Get myself out of the face.
You also
I need to know where to send these now that you're roving, so we have to discuss that.
Oh, no, you send them the same place. I'm not that far from the post office. It's just a half-hour drive instead of a quarter of an hour drive. So until I figure out somewhere else to go.
Speaking of these, as the price of silver has gone through the roof, I did it to you the other night, but you didn't see it in the chat. 140.
140.
140,
yeah.
Because right now it's there's $120 worth of silver sitting in it if you're buying them as individual bobs.
Yep.
So yeah, at 130, we're then running at a loss. I can guarantee that by the time you look at electricity and the new filament, which arrived today, that looks okay, but that costs $30 for the roll. So
can you give me that code, please? Because I was talking to Sandy about this yesterday as well. We're finding it very difficult to find that particular shade of plastic, aren't we?
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
So
I've got
what we would like to do,
try it.
Yeah, what we'd like to do is get that code off the other one that everybody likes, and I'm going to start ringing around J cars around the place and see if they've got any of it sitting out the back, because apparently that colour has actually been discontinued. Is that right?
Well, I can't get it from the original supplier that I was getting it from, and I found an alternative that may be suitable.
Okay.
So, but I'm not going to be sure until I print.
Yeah.
And it's out of stock. It's just not available because it's a silk, but the new one looks pretty close, although it's a royal blue. So we'll have to see how close it is.
Well, it'll be what it be's. But if you would like some, folks, we would love to help you out. As Vince said, we've got to put the price up because the price just keeps going up, and we pay a daily rate on the silver. So it's whatever the price of the silver is today. It's not like we bought it 6 months ago and, we paid for it back then. We didn't. It's got to be paid for as you buy it, essentially. So if you would like that, they make ideal Christmas presents, I'm discovering. In fact, I got an order for another 7 of them today, 5 for one person, 2 for a couple of other people. So, yeah, you're going to be printing them for a while, I think, Vince. I did say we should buy you a printer and just let it run.
Well, this one has been. It was running right up until I ran out of filament, and so holy crap!
Yeah,
I'm getting my money's worth out of this printer, I tell you. But,
well, you are. We'll have to buy you a new one because I have no doubt we're going to bugger it up at some stage.
Well, it hasn't died yet, so it's
fine.
We'll keep going. I mean, like everybody else out there, we're running. We run on a budget. Well, we run almost in a deficit if we want to do accounting wise. But
yes. What do you mean almost?
Well, we still got to pay for the bus yet. Yeah. And so, right. Otherwise, we're going to have Carl presenting his Friday night free for all from the side of the road in a tent. Anyway, the joys and challenges of being too nice to people. We should be Jewish. No, I shouldn't say that.
How else would you like to put it?
Well, I don't know. I really, Could be. Well, I suppose I could be called a politician, just be a thieving bastard. That would work.
No, mate. I don't hang out with thieves. I have nothing to do with them. There you go. Pete's got an idea. Electus distribution. Maybe we can talk to J Car's distributor there and see if we can get this thing the right code. So let us know the code so we can do something with that.
It's manufacturer's code. I don't know if it's going to match anything. And from what I've got, I couldn't find it anywhere else on the net. So some unique.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But all good. Hey, people, the one thing about a fairy, seeing that you're all calling me a fairy, is I can disappear. Bye.
It's that simple. Oh, see, I've got much better timing than him. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate everything you do for us here at the Voice of Freedom. In fact, today, the thing that he was alluding to where I wasn't panicking. I just had a time issue was my problem. And I had a curveball thrown at me, which meant I lost 2 hours of my day. And that was proving a little difficult. And I had to get the bus semi-registered. So the bus is not registered at the moment for a variety of reasons. Well, no, for one reason, not a variety. So I had to get a permit for it. And I was in the process of getting a permit to move it, and that didn't work. And then I had this screw up where I needed to go off and do something else for 2 hours and had to be done straight away. So Vince very kindly organised the permit for me on the phone or through the internet or all the other bits and pieces. And it would have been difficult for me to do that because it's hard to do that while you are driving a car. They make you type everything in and anyway. So we have relocated. We are ready to go. We do need to register the bus, and that's why anything that you can help us with will be gratefully received and used to go strictly to that particular function to get this old girl registered again. And I'll need a COI for it, a certificate of inspection. Being as big as it is, it's got to have one of those every 12 months. And then I'll find $1,300 to register it. So we'll get it going and hit the road. The plan is to head to the Sunshine Coast. If I can get it fixed this week and registered this week, then I'll be on the Sunshine Coast next week so that I can catch up with a few people up there. Oh, he's back.
He's back. Just remember, blue sky.
Oh, the blue sky.
Blue sky.
All right. Well, Don't let me finish. Just pop in and tell your story.
No, I'm fine. You go ahead and finish because you were talking
No,
about
I've forgotten what I was talking about now. So away you go.
Well, guys, you know how the American government's all shut down, right? And I've got to go and jump. Guess what's happening over there?
Hey, Florida, what happened to hurricane season? Didn't happen, huh? Day 12 of the government shutdown. Not a chemtrail in sight. Sky is so clear and bright. At this point, I'm tired of being right. Day 12 of the government shutdown. Skies are still clear, but I'm lying. Plot twist. Still no chemtrails. Day 12 of the government shutdown. Am I right or am I right? To the government bots in the comments, we know the difference between contrails and chemtrails. Contrails last about 2 to 3 minutes. Chemtrails, hours on end. We're not done. Ooh, shocker. Plot twist. Still no chemtrails.
See the plane?
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice work indeed.
So,
and yeah,
we need a government shutdown here.
yeah,
For more than
it's
one
amazing.
reason.
If you tell them you're not going to pay them,
But
nobody
anyway,
goes and does anything.
Well, okay. They still get paid over there. Anyway,
No, they don't.
I'll let you get back to the
Only-
Sunshine Coast, which was where you were at before I interrupted.
Oh, well, the plan was just to go to the Sunshine Coast and catch up with a few people up there. I want to go and see Margie Sedgman, who's in hospital, and catch up with her. I want to see the lovely Sunflower, Wapda, and a few others. Of course, I lived on the Sunshine Coast for 5 years, so I'm looking forward to catching up with everybody up there. But the plan will be to hang around southeast Queensland essentially until Christmas, and then head south. I'll head down to the Donkey Sanctuary, spend some time with Sandy and Baz, maybe between Christmas and New Year or after New Year. Head further south. I'm determined not to drive like a madman. What I've been doing in this is, oh, Carl, come to Melbourne. We need you in Melbourne. Okay, I'll come to Melbourne, and I'll get in the bus and I'll drive to Melbourne, and it'll take me 2 days to drive to Melbourne. It'll cost me $800 or $900 in fuel, and I've got to have that $800 or $900 in fuel for the 2 days to get down there. Whereas if I took 2 weeks to get down to Melbourne, I've got a lot longer time to gather the money to keep the fuel in the bus to get down there. So that means I'm going to do a lot more stops rather than just going hell for leather, because I'm a power driver, and that's, I guess, all I've ever done is power drive. When you sit me in a driver's chair behind a wheel, and I will drive for, well, the longest I've ever driven is 23 hours solid, just with breaks for fuel. But I spent so many years as a limo driver. You're 12 hours a day on the road at least doing that, and I quite like driving. So I drive like a friggin' madman, and I've got to stop doing it. I've got to just take it a little easier and spend a few more days on the road to stretch out the ability to fund it. Because if I get to Melbourne, do my event, I've got to then go somewhere else. And then it's a matter of, oh, well, where do I go and how much fuel have I got to go and do that? So now I think I need to plan this rather differently. And I'm not used to traveling on the road as such, as a holidaying traveler or people who live on the road full time. I haven't lived on the road full time, even though I've been in the bus full time for however long it's been now. So I need to figure out a better way of doing that. And I think I've figured that out. So it's just taking a little slower to get to where we want to be. It takes a little bit more planning and no knee-jerk reactions of you ringing me today and saying, oh, Carl, can you be here next week? And me saying, oh, yeah, I can. Because, yeah, I can if I can get down there. In fact, I was meant to be down in Victoria this weekend. And happy birthday to the people I was meant to be catching up with. But it's just not possible given everything that was going on with me at the time. Had to get the property ready to get off, had to get the bus ready to get off. and needed to get a lot of work. Well, not a lot, but I needed to get this work done on the bus, which we couldn't get done in the time frame. Otherwise, I probably would be down on the Murray River right now. But unfortunately, not the case. So we'll sit here. We will fix the old girl up. We will make sure that she's in tip-top condition. And hopefully we'll be able to put the money together to get her registered and hit the road. And then for the next 12 months, I'm coming to your place. Well, not to your place, but I will come to your town. We are also looking forward to catching up with the corruption whistleblower. There are some plans of things we're going to be doing together next year. We haven't really firmed them up yet, but we are pretty close to nailing down a bit of an idea, and hopefully we will we'll be part of that. So the longest ride you've done on the bike is 960 Ks. Yeah, I don't know. I could do 960 Ks on a bike. That'd be hard. The most amount of kilometers I've done in one day. That would be from Broken Hill to Border Village on the border of South Australia, Western Australia. I think we left at 5:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, and we arrived at midnight or just after midnight at Border Village. That was a pretty long day driving a tow truck. And then we headed across the Nullarbor from there. Did we contact Rachel for towns we want you to be? No, I don't know. Rachel really couldn't help you. She's in Tassie. So no, if you've got a town you want me to come to and you've got an event you want to promote or something like that, email me, carl@vofhq.com. And if you've got, if there is an event in your town, some sort of festival or whatever it's worthwhile coming along to, then let's see if we can't string those together. If I can go from one town to the next that's got some sort of festival or event happening, then that'd be great. I'd love to help promote your town, your region, your events. Let's help with tourism. If you're a tourism operator, reach out. Want to come and help promote you. And yes, if we're in your area, why wouldn't we come and help promote you? So that's what I want to do. I want to come and help grow your business. Hopefully that'll help us grow our business. We'll make a huge family together. And from that family, we can make change. That is my heartfelt wish. Our family, our Voice of Freedom family, gets to make change. And we do, folks. We are uniting people all over the place. We are uniting people all over the place. And it's so wonderful to have this family behind me. I get phone calls. I get emails internationally. I get phone calls from people in New Zealand. I got a phone call from somebody in the Philippines. I've had phone calls from America and the UK, and further in deeper, colder parts of Europe, Norway, Sweden. I've had emails from those places. So the show does get out. It does reach people, and it reaches people in various different ways. Some people like the humor. Some people like, the offbeat way I might present the news. Some people prefer it when I get angry. I don't care what you like about it. It's just as long as you like it. And if there's something you don't like, let me know, because I can't improve if I don't know. So let me know. Have yourself a fabulous weekend, folks. Keep an eye on Life, the Universe, and everything. If the bus happens to fall over because we've lost a leveling ram or whatever, I'll do a quick live over it and let you know. But I don't expect anything dramatic like that happening. Just be safe, whatever you're doing this weekend. There is a march happening on Sunday. We will be going live. I don't know whether it'll be from every event. I'm going to have a bit of a chat with Tony to see if he's turning up in Melbourne. I know Clayton is turning up in Brisbane. I haven't got anybody who's prepared to throw a camera over the event in Sydney at the moment, which is a bit weird. And Adelaide, may get a camera out of there yet. We'll wait and see. But be watching from, I guess, around 11 o'clock on Queensland time on Sunday. And if we've got cameras in those places, I'll be live streaming the March for Australia. Pardon me. Hopefully you will head out and be part of it too. Whether you're in Brisbane, in Sydney, in Melbourne, in Perth, in Adelaide, or any of the regional centres that are getting on with it this weekend, then thank you for your support. Thank you for your help. And let's get out and rock this nation on Sunday, folks. March for Australia. March against mass immigration. March for common sense in government. Be safe on the roads. Watch out for the dickheads. Have a great weekend.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!